Hey everyone, and welcome to Bay Area Nerf.
This is Josh.
And this is Sean. So it's been a while since we did our last video, so we felt the subject of this video was important enough to where we wanted to record it again instead of just doing it as a podcast. So we'll go ahead and let you know what we're talking about. It is the new Tek Recon blasters.
Here they are.
So we were fortunate enough to get our hands on the Hammerhead early, and then Tek Recon actually shipped this out, a Havoc, to test out as well.
And a replacement Hammerhead, because we were having some problems with the ranges being really low with the model that we found and ended up purchasing from Kmart.
Yeah, so they actually released a little bit early. It happens with blasters all the time. You see it happen with Nerf and other brands as well. So we were able to take a sneak peek, write an article. It's on our blog at barriernerf.com if you want to check it out. The video review will be doing the new Hammerhead that they sent us and also the Havoc as well.
So we're going to go out, we're going to test the ranges on these guys, and then we will come back to you right here.
Yep, so we'll see you after the cut. Have fun, guys.
Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Sean with Bay Area Nerf. We want to take this opportunity to show off the ranges we're getting on the Hammerhead and the Havoc blasters. We were speaking with Tek Recon and noticing that we had some problems with our original blaster, so they were courteous enough to send us a replacement blaster to test out. So we're going to do a couple different range tests and just try and quantify our figures a little bit so everyone can see the ranges they're getting. So this first shot, what I'm going to do, we're using the Hammerhead blaster. We have some of the rounds in here right now in the bottom of the gun, the handle of the gun, that's where they go. And then we're going to do them on a couple different range modes. First one's going to be the rapid fire mode. So this is a quick mode. It's less power, so it's not going to go as far as potentially later on. We'll start with the trigger, and then we'll try some other different modes. All right, so that's 5 shots right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ranges we got. We can find them. That is one thing that's tricky with these guys. They are a little bit small. So first shot we're getting on this one is 42 feet. Josh is going to zoom in and make me look wrong. And then we have another one a little bit further out. This guy is actually about a foot or so back. And then we should have a couple more shots. We have one over here. It looks like we're between 49 and 50 feet on that one a little bit. We got a couple going a little bit further. Right here a little beyond 63 feet. One off to the side. That one is just shy of 70 feet, it looks like. Alright, so the next thing we're going to test out on this guy is going to be the long range mode, the high powered mode. The way you do this, there's a little slider that you will see on the side of the blaster. It has a little gradient, goes from light to dark and thick. You can go ahead and switch that back, and that's the high powered mode. So this creates a lot more tension on the trigger because it's using more power to shoot the rubber bands, the NRG rounds. So it's a little bit easier, instead of using the trigger right here, to use the pump action in the front. So I'm going to do 5 shots using the pump action in the front instead and see what kind of performance we get out of it. So let's go ahead and line up our shot, and that was kind of odd. There we go. 3. Again. 4. 5. So let's go ahead and see if we can track these guys down. So it looks like we have our first one over here on high range mode, clocked in at 37 feet. And then a couple of these look like they kind of arced off to the left when I fired them. Okay, so I see 2 over here. both of these kind of went into a line. And cameraman, can you get a shot of how far away we are from the line right now too? So that was me trying to shoot up front. I had to tap the bottom of the blaster a little bit to get the the elastics loading into it properly. But it should be a little bit more straight than that. Of course the rounds are, well, round, so they will roll a little bit. This one came in at 64 feet. This one will be a little bit easier to hit right here. This one was pretty close, 66 feet. It's pretty good. And then our last round is right over here. I just saw it 2 seconds ago. Where'd it go? It's a little bit in front of the last one. Luckily, Josh is able to see better than I am. 74 feet. So with that, we're getting ranges that are pretty close to what we expect with long range mode. The high power seems to shoot them far. The problem we're getting is a lot of these are kind of arcing off to the side. We have minimal wind conditions. This is nothing we haven't seen in our games. We play fine in these conditions. It was a little bit harsh having to tap the bottom of the blaster, but with the elastics, they can get caught on the side a little bit. If you notice there's a white residue on some of the NRG rounds, that's actually a substance similar to baby powder. It basically makes sure it doesn't grip onto the side of the magazine. So if you are seeing issues like that, a little bit of powder will help it load into the blaster properly, so you don't have to tap to unstick it. Alright, so next what we're going to take a look at is the Havoc blaster. So this is actually a different blaster. We haven't had a chance to range test this yet. We've only had hammerheads to take a look at, so you can see the magazine right here, a little bit bigger. We're going to do 5 shots with this guy, and we're going to make sure it is all the way set to the lowest setting first test, and then we'll do high power mode afterwards. Shoulder stock does feel good. Yeah, I'm noticing again, it feels like all the shots are kind of arcing a little bit to the left. It could be a bad shot. There's always a chance of that. So it looks like our first round is right over here. And that guy is getting about, looks like 35, if my eyesight is correct, 35. Second shot right up here. We're going to be seeing that one over at about 38 feet. Shot number 3 is right up here. So with that, we are getting, looks like close to 42 feet. A little bit wider out, we have this shot over here, which is about between 42 and 43 feet. And then the last shot is over here on the right, I believe, right here. Then we go over. It's a good thing these things are red. And we have it about 47 feet. So overall, I'd say the grouping on these is pretty nice. They stuck closer to the line, even though the ranges were a little bit slower or shorter. Depends if you want accuracy versus range, but we'll get into that back when we hop over to us sitting on a couch. So let's go ahead and check out high power mode. So we're going to do what we did with the hammerhead. Go ahead and switch this over to high power mode. Just crank it all the way back over here. Once again, we're going to use the pump action on the front. Let's test this bad boy out. Ooh. Okay, let's check those out. I saw one of them go off to the left. Actually, looks like our first one is right over here. Oh, no, it's not. I lied. We're going to take a couple steps back. Our first round is actually back over here. Line that up to the line. So the first shot, looks like we're getting about 43 feet on it. Sorry, my eye was attracted to the one right next to the line. So shot number 2. We're getting looks like a little bit over 54 feet. Go a little bit to the left. So we have this one here. Let's go ahead and get a shot of the tape. So we're looking at about 65, or sorry, I was reading it upside down. 56, I would say closer to 57. It's pretty close. Going further over here now. One of them I saw almost just kind of hover in the air and bank over to the left. That's this guy over here. It's actually a little bit further back than the last one. So we're looking at about 55 feet on that one. And then the fifth one. This is always the tricky one to find. Luckily this one actually shot pretty close on the line. And we got between 63 and 64 feet. So grouping on this one stuck pretty close to the line, thank God. One of them went way far out. But the rest of them look like they're semi-close to the line at least. 3 out of 5, depending on what ratio you want for closeness to the line. That's what you'll go with. All right, so that is both blasters now that we reviewed. We'll go ahead and hop back over to the couch in a second. See you there.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. As you saw in the range test, getting pretty much advertised ranges. There's sort of the low power is obviously much lower than the high power. But
good deductive reasoning, Josh.
You know.
I'm proud of you.
Hey, you know what? The first time we did this, the high power was only about 10 feet more than the low power. We're getting 30, 35 feet on low, 40, 45 feet on high.
I'm going to take this blaster from you, Josh.
Go for it.
So what was happening when Josh had his original blaster and we were testing it out about, what was it, Saturday, I think we were testing it out?
Yeah, I think so.
So when it would fire, basically, the shots would come out, and then when we put it on high power mode, they would start just shooting upwards.
Yeah, I actually hit the ceiling in my apartment doing this.
Just playing it down regular level.
Yep.
So luckily, there's a couple explanations for that. One, the blaster was a little bit odd, obviously. We're pretty sure we have a lemon at this point on our hands. It's a shame. I mean, they do happen. It just sucks that one of the first blasters we got our hands on was a lemon.
Yeah.
So once again, we appreciate you, Tek Recon, for sending us a working model that seems to be functioning perfectly.
Yeah, as always, great communication and love for the community. So.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate that. It's also been noted by My Last Dart on his blog that if you load the rubber bands in a little bit wonky, for example, if you just try and shove them in really quickly, you're not careful about it, if they roll up, catch on the magazine, anything like that, that can cause them to shoot a little bit odd too. The reason why we're still pretty sure ours was a lemon is just the power switch when you go onto range mode felt exactly the same.
Yeah, we didn't have any, the trigger play was exactly the same. There was no, it didn't take additional pressure. Yeah.
As you saw when we did the range test, I had to use the pump action at the front just to get the long distance shots going properly. When I was using Josh's blaster initially, I could just honestly trigger it and be like, oh, this feels pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So we're happy that we have a working model and we're able to test out the ranges on it. So Josh, what are your thoughts on the Hammerhead?
So the Hammerhead, you know, a lot of my initial concerns are still there. The ranges make me feel a lot more comfortable about the blaster. I know My Last Dart did this and said that he had a lot of room. You can see my hand, and like I said, I do have small hands. Here, I'll go lefty. It's not even getting, I can't get past that second knuckle in order to really pull this trigger. I kind of have to go up and around. And I'm just saying, for 8-year-olds, definitely when I was 8, I would have to two-hand this blaster and be like doing this weird thing. It's just not particularly comfortable to me. People with bigger hands, not going to have as much of a problem.
I mean, I'm bigger than Josh, but my hands are like a glove-sized medium.
Yeah.
I feel very effeminate that I know that, by the way. So you can see mine, it's coming a little bit closer, but it's still a little bit of a range. The problem I had, especially like I mentioned earlier, when you have it on long range mode, have to use this. My finger is not strong enough from that far away.
Yeah.
Left, go this way. To pull it. Luckily, on regular mode, trigger works fine. That's because the trigger is priming the blaster itself, so it does need that extra reach to prime the NRG rounds properly.
Exactly.
It's very similar to, if anyone had the Snapfire 8 that was done by Nerf, it's a dart tag blaster. It also has a very long trigger. The main difference, I would say, and this is something that can be fixed very easily in a Generation 2 blaster, is right here where the groove for your hand goes in. Just having that going a little bit more and having this part be a little bit thinner. When you do that, then it kind of brings your hand a little bit forward. Solves that longer reach problem very easily.
Yeah, definitely. Other than that, I mean, this being up here, is just something that I don't like personally. I feel kind of like a T-Rex when I'm firing, or even if I'm out here, it just feels unnatural. I really would prefer it to be back here, sort of so you could do a cowboy quick draw, and it just feels more natural and pistol-like. Some other things that I just didn't enjoy about this blaster was this entire section right up here. This all feels like it just could have been chopped down, and I know that it's there so that you can put on the phone mount, which we've had some problems getting to work. This is the stylus right here. Doesn't always hit the screen. Yes, doesn't always hit the screen to tell the
My
phone.
rendition of that technology, tap, tap, tap.
You basically, it doesn't register that you have fired a shot all the time. What else? Oh yeah, so all of this I felt like could have just been chopped down and replaced with maybe a rail, and then have the phone mount a rail attachment, because you could lose this, and you could, if you got rid of this up here, you could lose maybe even some of this, so it would really be more streamlined, and you could, if there wasn't something here, you could put it into a holster, and you wouldn't worry about it priming while you've done that. That said, there are some things I do enjoy about this blaster. I mean, the grip, aside from my finger being over here, it's pretty ergonomic. I mean, it feels nice in my hand. What I really love is this right here. I love this. Being able to put rounds in the basically the handle, more realistic, and when you it has a ambidextrous magazine drop, it actually pops out just a little bit like that. I mean, if you're running, it's going to continue to fall, but I'm usually, if I'm reloading, something like this, grabbing.
It's nice knowing it's not going to slip onto the ground right as you hit it. I mean, then you get this awkward juggle situation, so that's very awesome.
Definitely.
Honestly, the handle itself, once again, I'll grab this from you. The handle itself feels like a very solid handle.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels nice. You see this with a lot of blasters where they're a little bit too small, the grip is a little bit tighter on them. I love my Alpha Trooper from Nerf, but honestly, the handle's still a little bit too small, and the paint has melted off from just sweat and battle.
Yeah.
I may be a mutant. I'm just throwing that out there right now, that I have super melty hands.
Yeah.
But
that, I mean,
with this one right here, you can tell that the plastic, the grip right here is very nice. How it grooves back here to texture it. It's just that one part right here in the middle just needs to be a little bit thinner, and I feel like it'd be much better. Yeah,
there are a few points on this blaster that, I mean, feel a little thin. Back here, this is basically just there to kind of look cool and give you that realistic recoil. I could take it or leave it. It's there. It moves back when the actual stylus does. This entire front of the blaster, I feel like, again, could have been cut down, streamlined, so you didn't have this huge opening. These feel really thin, like the walls. I'm just really worried about, we play on blacktop, dropping it on a road and, you know, this sort of just taking chunks out of it and shattering. If it were a little bit thicker, feels like you could drop it and it wouldn't have as much of a problem.
And there is footage from, I believe it was the London Toy Show, where My Last Art was talking to Tek Recon, and the guy I was talking to actually drops the blaster onto the ground to show how well the phone attaches onto it to keep it safe. My Last Art mentions if you drop it from the side, of course, it's going to impact the phone, so that'll hit it. Straight down, okay. Just sideways, I feel like, also, too, just potentially either landing on the top, or if someone steps on this. I keep Nerf blasters.
Even the back. I mean, I'm worried about this just cracking open and having a hole in it, you know?
Yeah, I almost wonder if this part back here, it's kind of fun to see it moving back and forth.
Right.
But if it was internal and a little bit weightier, it would almost simulate more the kickback.
And when I initially saw the Kickstarter, when I read realistic kickback, I mean, I come from airsoft, so I'm used to things having weights in them, and if they're trying to actually do a realistic recoil, it having a weight that's actually going back and giving you a little bit of, well, recoil.
Yeah.
There's not really any recoil, it just simulates something moving.
Oh, that's another part too, actually. The fake tactical light on here. I mean, seems like a cool
not
idea.
A light.
It's not a light, it's plastic. I
just
wish they had gone the route with the Havoc, where, let me pick this up real quick, we'll talk about this in a second, actual pump grip.
Yeah, it's much more comfortable. I wish, again, if it was back here, they could have left this, put a rail down here so you could put an actual light or something like that. It does have sort of a mock rail up here, but there's no way you're going to be able to attach anything to it.
The mouth, I know it's named after a shark, but
Hammerhead.
because it's so wide open in the front, I think of basking sharks. Just ready to eat anything coming at you. Big and scary.
They are.
But yeah, so that's our thoughts on this. The ranges, like we said, we're getting better ranges, closer to advertised ranges, so definitely a plus there. So we're happy to see that they are getting the reported ranges.
Yes.
As far as the arcing issue, it seems like that was more just how the ammo was being loaded in and being fired by our particular blaster.
So actually, on that note, something to mention is these rounds, once you've sort of picked them up and shot them a few times, they come with a powder, and actually they gave us an extra Havoc ammo pack. You can kind of see, and I'll have some pictures up as well, of when I first opened up some of these. They look like Apple Jacks.
Further than his.
They look like frosted Cheerios or frosted Apple Jacks, and this powder really keeps them from sticking together. And as you probably noticed and might have heard Sean mention in the range test, is sometimes these don't pop all the way up, or they'll be kind of sticky, and so they're hard to get back in here. And that may have been what was causing some of the issues we were having with them not firing on every single shot, and arcing and boogering, as My Last Dart puts it.
Right.
We talked to Tek Recon about this, and they actually said just go ahead and put some baby powder on them. I would, put it in like a plastic container and just throw all your ammo, and when you're done playing with it,
once in a while.
Exactly, shake and bake that ammo.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake. But other than that, yeah.
But once again, power switch feels very strong on here. Way different than the first blaster we got, so that's probably why we're getting much better ranges at both the rapid fire and the fast range. Rapid fire, I mean, feels like you can go pretty fast with it. I only shot out 5 rounds when I was doing it, but definitely the hooking mechanism, I don't perceive any jamming problems really happening with this like you would get with a Nerf blaster. If a dart gets caught in there, you have to kind of pick it out. Since this is a rubber band, if it didn't hook properly, you can probably just shake it out really easily.
Yeah, more or less.
So jams hopefully shouldn't be too big of a problem unless it is jams that you're getting inside the magazine.
Right. If they just aren't advancing, you're going to be pulling that trigger, and you're going to have to do what Sean kind of did.
Yeah, tap it a little bit,
tap the bottom, tap, rack, bang, as they say.
You see this happen sometimes with Nerf magazines as well. The difference being, I feel like we get a little bit more use out of Nerf magazines before it pops up as a problem. With this, because of the nature of the NRG rounds being rubbery, they're more likely to grip, and that's where the baby powder comes in.
Exactly.
Ammo maintenance.
And other than that, only other thing that bugs me is, and we mentioned this before in the review, is not getting a full magazine when you purchase the blaster.
Yeah.
That is a little bit difficult to swallow, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. So, should we move on to the Havoc?
Yes, we should. So, the Havoc, overall, what I like about this guy, it feels like the version 2.0 of the Hammerhead. Obviously, it's designed to be a different blaster, but I feel like there was... If you look at the initial concept designs and the previous, like, alpha models, whatever you want to call them, of the Hammerhead, they didn't have this big chunk right here. So obviously they thought afterwards, hey, we designed this cool blaster, let's integrate the app and the phone into it as well, and that's where this design gets a little bit bigger. At least that's what my thoughts on their thought process was. When you look at this blaster, you can tell from the ground up it was designed to work with phones. With this big area, big stock right here, it's a very nice looking blaster. The stock is detachable, it comes attached. All you have to do is there's 2 little buttons. I guess I can... Yeah, I'm still doing it wrong.
He wants to do this the Nerf way. When you just pull this out, if you actually hold the button down, you can't pull it out. It locks it, but you need to push it in to retract it.
Yep, and then you just pull it out.
Yeah.
It has multiple ranges to lock into, so that's nice. More adjustable than
Really
you get
adjustable.
with the Nerf one. Definitely a plus. My Last Start says it's had some success actually mounting it on the Nerf blasters.
Yeah, I was reading that as well, so...
I can do it. I can do it. I'm a big boy. There we go. So detachable. If you look on the back right there, I don't know if it would attach sturdily to a Hasbro product, which, to be fair, it's a Tek Recon product.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be attaching onto it.
Yeah.
You can jerry-rig it, but I'd rather, if I'm shouldering something, I want to make sure it's stable onto the blaster as well. And speaking of shouldering, if you look at the back, this is nice right here. The rubber grips on the back. It's soft. It can fold in a little bit so it can mesh to the grooves in your arm and shoulder. It is a huge, huge plus in quality. I love this a lot.
I would love to find someone that would either 3D print something or some way make this compatible with Hasbro Nerf blasters, because this stock is way better than anything that Hasbro is offering right now.
Or Buzzbee or any other provider. This stocking, everything about it is just very nice.
Much more
Full
adjustment.
Yeah.
This rubber is so comfortable. It's just it really shows a lot of thought went into it. I like it far, far superior to everything else that's being offered right now.
Something interesting on here is if you look on the back of it, I'll try and hold up to the camera, it says Axe G Series.
I think My Last Dart mentioned that in his video.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what that means. Maybe they're going to be creating other stocks for this. Clearly, it's something that's being branded that is not just saying Tek Recon on it or Havoc or anything like that.
If they're coming out with a new line, there might be more stocks that say Axe G Series on them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll have Axe F Series and who knows what.
An Axe body spray.
I mean, this is green. Maybe it refers to that. I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, other parts about the blaster that I like. Let's see here. The Tek Recon logoing on the front. I like that. It's kind of a cool touch.
I do like it. I like the mock carbon fiber that they have on it. They did do that on this the Hammerhead a little bit, but it looks really sleek on the Havoc.
Mm-hmm. Also, as far as we mentioned that the plastic feels a little bit thinner in places on the Hammerhead, the Havoc overall feels a lot more sturdy. The only area I can really nitpick is right here, right below the rail. It's a little bit thinner.
This is kind of, I can bow it with my hands.
Yeah.
You know.
But because it's secured in other parts of the blaster, the ends feel more solid. Look at the muzzle. It looks more like an actual muzzle of a gun.
Right.
So that's a lot more solid. I don't feel that warping at all.
Yeah.
The barrel looks more like a barrel, too, if you look down that. I have no idea if that's going to the camera right or not. But you can see it looks a little bit more sleek. It has that little loop up at the top that makes it look like a tongue on the roof of your mouth. The handle, the priming bar right here that I mentioned earlier, this right here feels super nice. It's a lot easier to grip and grab. It's not a big tactical light with weird grooves on it. It was designed for a hand. It's a little small for what it is, especially because you have that dead space there, so I felt like they could have made it a little bit longer while they're doing it. You can see my hand, once again, I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but mine are wrapping around. It's almost the opposite problem that you get with the trigger. The trigger's a little bit out of reach. Do it this way. A little bit, I can get my hand right there. But the handle right here is a little too small.
See, I don't have any real problems with the shotgun-style prime, underbarrel primer there. Obviously, I have small hands, but it was really comfortable. And it was way better. It felt more natural to use something when it's way out here and kind of do that prime than, again, with the Hammerhead, really tiny up in here.
I'm a big person.
Yeah.
Feels nice.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. It also, they have a little stylus up there too. Once again, it's kind of hard to get the hit onto the phone properly every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how you look at it, you don't want something punching your phone. So if they went the other route and your phone got damaged, you'd be way more mad than it not accurately counting your ammo. True. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at the magazine. This mag, also very nice. I love the design and style on it. So you have the darts in the front right here, load it into the blaster. Loads very nice. When you need to reload or just remove it, instead of having a release button on the blaster itself, there's two tabs. You just press down, slides out nice and easy.
Flip that over.
Flip it over, more.
36 more rounds at your disposal.
The problem is, once again, they only give you 36 rounds to start with. This mag holds 72, 36 on each flip. So you don't get a full mag again, so you have to go out and buy extra ammo to make that work.
We'll note that the ammo pack does come with an extra magazine and a full 72 rounds, as you may or may not be able to see on the side there. But
if you keep flipping it, it's like a loading screen on a computer. True story.
Yes.
But yeah, just overall, the size, the feel, the mag that comes with it, it feels like a more thought-out blaster. It works very well. You saw the ranges are getting pretty good on there. Accuracy is at a longer range. It's 50-50, I would say. You saw the results we got. We were getting the ranges that were guaranteed on the box, so that is a huge plus. That's definitely what we want to see. But for our games, we're very spread out. We're all across blacktops, fields, parking garages, what have you, wherever we're playing. So for us, the idea of shooting a blaster 75 feet and then not actually being accurate at that distance is more of a hindrance than a help. You're not going to shoot at that range.
Yeah, I mean,
hit something.
With a lot of Nerf blasters, we kind of have similar problems. They definitely advertise 75 feet, but you're not able to hit things accurately. Some of these were really starting to fly out once they got into those ranges, but I mean, it is what it is. Until we're able to play with it more, we won't really know how it runs in a game. A few things to note. I mean, obviously, the ammo is very difficult to find if you're playing outdoors and in the grass, but honestly, this blaster, I like it so much more than the Hammerhead.
Well, like I said, it's like version 1.0, version 2.0.
This really feels like this is their flagship blaster, and the Hammerhead doesn't work as a sidearm, so I don't really know what it's sort of offering. There's almost no reason to ever use it if you're going to pick this guy up. Which
cheaper price point?
I would recommend picking this guy up as opposed to this guy if you're going to do either or. I mean, you've got sling mounts here. You've got a tactical rail, which, by the way, this I yanked off of a Airsoft G36, and so it is actually compatible with, you know, real steel and all Airsoft stuff. And it lines up. It looks, I don't know if there's going to be too much of a difference if you can use real, you know, scopes and things like that on it. We'll see. I don't have anything to test it out with. But, yeah, this is just such a vast improvement. I mean, there are things to nitpick on, but I think Sean already went over most of them that I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Much better blaster.
Far superior. Don't know why you would run this. Sean did mention the price point. That's something that is a little bit of a concern for me, personally. This guy, on Kickstarter, I believe it was $25. We picked it up for $20, and I'm just thinking other blasters that I can get for $20 include the Alpha Trooper, the Strife, if you want something more pistol. If you do want something that's actually a pistol blaster, you can get the Hammer Shot and the Strong Arm, which are significantly cheaper. They're, you know, $15, $13.
There are also knife fires. There are...
Yeah, and then there's single shots like that. They don't have the ammo capacity this guy does. There are a few things that they're missing, but I would tend to probably recommend something like that over this guy, just because I don't like the ability to not, you know, put this in a holster, because that's something that really you want to do with a secondary, is have it on you in case you're out of ammo or it jams up or something like that.
Yeah, it's your backup blaster. In case of emergency, bust this out and survive until you can fix your main blaster.
Exactly.
The other thing you mentioned, too, is... Actually, you mentioned it off camera, but I'm bringing it up. Is if you want to put this in a holster, like a paintball holster or something like that, this guy right here is going to cause you problems, just because if you try and put it in and it hits this rail part right here, it starts priming the blaster. With this guy, even if you pull the trigger a little bit... Oh, there's rubber bands in here. That's why it's so hard to load. Oh, see? One just dropped out because I was pulling the trigger a little bit. It starts loading it right away. So if you rest your finger right on the trigger, which is bad to do, it's bad gun safety.
Right.
Only put it there if you're going to fire at something. But the problem is right here, if you put it in a holster, it's going to start pushing back.
Yeah, so either you're going to have it...
priming it for you.
Yeah, either it's going to completely go off in your holster, or it'll start to do that prime, and then when you take it out, you might have a jam or a gum up or something like that, and you know, it's going to lead to problems.
Yeah, you don't want to do this in the middle of battle and have to tap it up.
Yeah. So, Hammerhead, if you're really, really interested in this line, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to pick it up, just that if you are looking at us to say, yeah, this is worth the $20, I might wait to see if there's a version 2.0. There's, again, vastly superior than this guy.
Yeah, this guy right here, I believe it was $40 on the Kickstarter. I believe my last start report is going to cost $35 in the U.S. to pick it up. So once again, $5 price difference. I wish it were more like $30, but here's the thing that I have to keep in mind too. The app you're getting with it is free. The app that you're doing with the blaster is free. There's no cost associated with that app yet. So if you're willing to say, okay, the blaster is $30, but you're basically paying $5 more for the app, then it kind of makes it more worth it. The problem is you're paying that $5 each time you buy a blaster. It's not a one-time cost like you would if you bought the app separately. Right. So that's probably why the cost is a little bit higher than you'd expect it to be. But that said, this blaster feels like an overall improvement. It fixes a lot of errors I see in the Hammerhead. The main thing I would say that I'm interested in is just where to go from here, what you can design different from the blaster. You can go like with the double shotgun method, you can go with the sniper rifle. I'm interested to see what changes they actually do to the priming mechanism inside for loading up the energy rounds and firing them. Yeah. Right now, like we said, at longer distances, not completely accurate, but that's true with a lot of blasters. Short ranges, if you're talking like 30 feet, you can still decently hit whatever you're aiming at, so that's still an option for you. Yeah, and the impact is pretty much on par with the Nerf dart. Yeah, doesn't hurt any more or less, really. No, it's about the same. I was a little bit concerned with not being able to feel it in the heat of battle, but we've sort of, you know, obviously tested out and fired it at each other, and you can feel it about the same amount, which still is to say it isn't really hard.
my biggest concern with both of these blasters is honestly the price points. At about $30, this is sort of worth it. $35 it's getting up there. This guy, obviously, we've already gone over that. But then the ammo, my last dart used the phrase that it is like a rich man's blaster, and I think that's kind of true, because you are paying a little bit more of a premium to be able to use a dart type or a ammo type that nobody else is probably going to be using unless all your friends go for it. And then after a battle, you're more than likely going to have to stock up on ammo again. If you're playing outdoors or anything like that, which the app really lends itself to playing in a decent area because it has the GPS, navigation, and all that.
Yeah, you can go a little bit bigger with your playing field and still feel like the action is always around you.
Exactly. But if you do that, you're probably going to have a hard time recovering most of these. If you're playing in grass or even some blacktops and things, if you're playing indoors in an office or in your house, you'll probably be able to recover them.
It might even be handy just because when I play Nerf inside the house, the darts get hit everywhere, they get mashed up when people step on them. With the NRG rounds, at least they can take more of an impact when you step on them without the ammo being completely decimated.
Yeah, it's going to not be as deteriorated as Nerf darts after a few.
But then in all the nooks and crannies of your house, behind all the furniture, you're going to see little rounds of rubber bands just hiding everywhere.
Yeah.
And you probably are end up just going to buy more ammo just because it's hard to track down. Even during the range test, when we were trying to look where the NRG rounds landed on a blacktop with red ammo, it was pretty hard to spot. Yeah,
they were a little bit difficult, and I think the price point for a 25 refill pack is $4.99, $3.99, $4.99, right around in there. Which, compared to Nerf, you do get a lot more ammo, but I feel like you will also use a lot more ammo with these blasters because they have the rapid fire feature, and it lends itself to spamming.
And the retention of the blast of the ammo, you just are going to lose it.
Exactly.
It's going to go missing. And also, the maintenance is going to be a little bit more, too. With a Nerf dart, usually it lasts a little bit longer unless you're intentionally stepping on it or chewing on it. With these guys,
I chew on them.
Chews on them all the time.
Smoke them like little Nerf cigars.
It's not healthy. I think he's full of foam.
I want to be Nick Fury.
Yeah,
with an eye patch.
There's 2 of those now.
White Nick Fury with an eye patch who smokes cigars. Black Nick Fury doesn't smoke cigars. It's not my fault.
He doesn't. He's health conscious.
He is health conscious. That's why I smoke foam.
Not good for you. Worse for you if you actually light it on fire.
That's probably very true.
Also, you wouldn't want to smoke these too. You can maybe chew on them, actually. It's like chewing tobacco.
Yeah, definitely a choking hazard a little bit.
Yeah, don't do that. Bay Area Nerf does not condone you chewing on these guys. But once again, the baby powder, whatever substance you want to use to keep the friction on these guys a little bit low so it loads better in the magazine, you're going to have to do that on your own.
Yeah.
With our darts, we just put them in a big Tupperware at the end of the day and we're done. With these, you might have to shake and bake with them, like we said, to make sure that they're always working well in the blaster.
Yeah, you'll probably, I mean, if you do have a place that you're going to be playing in that you can recover these at, I would just do the same exact thing. You're not going to need, that is one thing that's nice, you're not going to need as large of a tub as we have to have nearly as many rounds because they're so much smaller. You can throw them in and you can just always have baby powder in there and just sort of shake them up in between your games or whatnot. But it really feels like these guys are bridging a lot of gaps. There's the gap between, technology and blasters, being able to bring that video game feel with all the GPSs and the little perks and things, like being able to block your opponent's GPS and being able to listen in on their conversations, things like that. Those perks are all really cool, so it's bridging that gap. And this is almost a little bit, it's a step from sort of a Nerf dart mentality to more of almost an airsoft type ammo, where it's a little bit smaller, faster velocity, certainly, and you're probably not going to recover a whole heck of a lot of it. So.
Yeah, the main issue with that, though, with airsoft pellets, they're biodegradable, so they'll just melt when it rains.
If you buy biodegradable pellets.
If you do that.
Yes.
If you want to save the environment. With these, you can reuse them, but that also means if you fire them at a playground, school, that they're going to sit there and take a while to erode.
Yeah.
So, PSA, don't litter.
Yeah, pick up your stuff.
Give a lobbage. Throw out your garbage.
Yes. Do that.
Other than that, main talking points, once again, probably wouldn't recommend this blaster. This guy, if you're willing to pay the price point,
yeah,
I'd say it's worth it. If you want to transition into using this ammo type, going with a new gameplay type, utilizing the app, if you have high expectations for 2014 and what's new on the horizon for Tek Recon, this is the starting point you go with.
Yeah.
But I would say for a Nerf war where you're playing with a lot of Nerf weaponry, a lot of... Oh, that was
Ooh,
weird.
sorry. Lights went out.
A lot of Nerf weaponry, a lot of foam discs, other technologies. Going to be tricky to hold on your ammo, difficult to scavenge, and use all of that. Indoor war, probably be a good idea. If you're playing in a field, you're going to lose ammo, not as good. Playing a huge school, got to make sure you clean up afterwards. That's key.
Yep.
But anything where the ranges are a little bit shorter for engagements, these are going to be nice.
Yeah, these will be great for short engagements just because of that high velocity, and so indoor wars probably will be pretty fun with these.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll of course hear more as more people review them and have started playing with them, and honestly, really looking forward to what else Tek Recon has to offer in the future.
Yeah.
More potential pistols, maybe, like you already said, shotguns, snipers, things like that. So
all cool
I'm
ideas.
really cool, interested to see where they go with it.
Yep. If I had to give a tip to you guys, less this, more this. This is definitely feels a lot better quality, better to go with.
Yeah.
As I tap the back of it, knowing that both blasters are going to be a little bit safe.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So on that note, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Check out BayAreaNerf.com for any new updates coming out for any tagging pistols.
And because Sean didn't say it, comment, rate, subscribe.
Yes, always do that.
Boom.
That's given. And always tune in. We appreciate you. Give us your feedback. Once again, we want to hear what you guys think. When you get these blasters from the Kickstarter, which it sounds like mid-August is when they should be coming in, or if you find them in a store early, let us know. Let us know if you like them. Let us know if there's anything that you noticed that we didn't notice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure that people will find either ways to mod these, or they'll find little quirks about them, using them on the battlefield. So,
definitely, we want to hear your feedback. So once again, this is Sean.
This is Josh.
Happy tagging.